What's up, y'all? So the saga of new axles continues. It has developed even further. So we've got this side apart. The knuckle and everything is off of it. And the big problem with that side was that bottom right there, that bottom bolt was just about the tightest thing I've ever tried to get off on this car. So that was a big chore. Go to the other side. That bolt is also super, super tight. And then I actually end up breaking, if it'll focus, yeah, breaking my socket. I broke my socket. Oh, fuck, dude. Wow. I wasn't even using an impact. You know, they say don't use chrome sockets with impacts. Well, I used it with a breaker bar, and that's when it broke. So went to Harbor Freight, got a new 21 mil socket. So let's see if we can't get that other side apart now. And once that's done, it's pretty much straightforward about getting everything back together. I need to fix the parking brake cable because it got a little bit mangled as I was taking it out. So see if we can't get the other knuckle off, and then we'll worry about reassembly. So this is what I was talking about, this bottom bolt on the knuckle. I've got new impact sockets that I think will hold up to the stress better. But I've only got a wrench that'll fit on the other side, so I've had to make a chain of wrenches to use the ground as my own leverage. So got my 3/4 inch breaker bar out with the adapter, and we're just giving her all the beans we got. Both sides are off. Still got to put that dust shield on this one. I'm working on getting this side put back together. This hub's going on okay. I've had two bolts, or bolt holes rather, that were stripped out on this secondhand knuckle that I got. So I'm gonna have to give a less than stellar review to the seller on eBay. They were sold as functioning parts, and I've had to I've had to file down the hubs because there's a couple dents in them. I've had to run taps through all of the holes to fix the bolt holes on this thing as well. So not super impressed, but glad that I have the parts regardless. All I got left on this side is to tighten everything down, all the trailing arms, put the parking brake back together, and then that's pretty much it. Just put the brake back on and everything's good to go, minus the axle. So fun fact, both axles were bad, and the bearing on this one was bad as well. When I took it off, it was free spinning and making some noise. So I guess what I've learned about this car is it's hard to tell if you have a bad bearing, because it just like I don't know, like the car hides it well. That's the best way that I can describe it, I think, is the car hides it well. I'm gonna finish up putting the knuckle on there on the other side, and then get the axle put in, and we'll see where we're at. We have passenger side axle in at the hub, and now we got to get it in there at the differential. Put our spacer in there and get that attached. So let's start with that. I go to try to have a celebratory drink, and the thing cracks off at the top and then foams over like crazy and spills everywhere. I'm still gonna drink it though. I'm gonna have to knock my eBay review down another star. because I can't even get this axle in outside the car. So I'm gonna have to give her a 3-star, man. I'm pretty unimpressed. They got them here kind of on time, but damn, the quality is lackluster. If I had known that I was gonna have to deal with this much nonsense, I probably would have spent the $700 a piece just to buy brand new knuckles and then not have to deal with any of this. But hindsight is always 20/20, and we're always trying to save a buck. So, you know, this is kind of our own fault. We're making progress, but holy shit, every single thing that I have had to do to this entire job has just like exponentially gotten harder. You know, it starts as this, and then grows to this, and then grows to this. So it's just an extremely taxing way to work on a car. You know, you do one thing, and then 2 more things go wrong, and you've got to try to fix those 2 things. Then 2 more things go wrong on each of those things, and it's just this big compounding effect that I am feeling the effects of today. So we'll get through it. I can't be the only one that has this this experience when working on cars, but these are the jobs that'll just tax you. These are the jobs that'll make you question how much you enjoy working on something. 10 snips for the win on these heat shields. The first heat shield I cut with a Dremel with a little cutoff wheel, and it vibrated like crazy and was really annoying. But 10 snips, super easy to get really clean cuts, and it went on real simple. It's kind of annoying that you'd have to pull off the entire hub to put on the dust shield properly. Why? Why do that to us? Okay, so driver's side axle is successfully in the hub. I was able to hit it hard enough with the dead blow to get just a couple threads there sticking out this side. Then I used the old nut to just tighten the piss out of it and pull the axle through. All you need is a couple threads, and once you get a couple threads, you're a safe bet. So got one axle done. Got the dust shield on here. So this side is actually ready to go back on the car as a full unit, which is funny because that's exactly how it came off the car, was in a full unit. All right, so after a valiant effort this weekend, I was able to get both knuckles on, both axles in the car, minus Loctite and torque. And wow, when I say that out loud, it doesn't sound like I did very much at all. To be fair though, everything on this car has gotten stuck as I've tried to take it off, or it's been difficult to put back on for one reason or another. Yeah, it really doesn't sound like that much work whenever I put it that way. New knuckles that came as an assembly. I had to mess with the parking brake, of course, but that's just, you know, brake shoes. Which, to be fair, I will say this side gave me some trouble. That left one there, it was putting up a hell of a fight. I almost threw it. I was close. I was probably 2 more failed attempts away from throwing it, but we got it on there. So all that we lack is getting the axle to diff bolts torqued and Loctited. We got to set our parking brake and then put the exhaust on, and then we're ready to go back on the ground. So before too long here, I think we're going to be moving under our own power and doing a little bit of test driving. So let's get these axle bolts torqued on there with some Loctite and keep the party rolling. You know what you always want to see on your brand new differential? You always want to see fluid leaking out of one of the sides. It's really how you know that it's a good differential. I hadn't even driven this thing a lot. I hadn't even put that many miles in this thing, and it's leaking out this side. What I was trying to show everybody was I had mentioned these 6mm axle spacers here. I was told to get these by somebody that drifted an N54 car, so that's why I have them. If anyone has any information why they're not good for axles or something, I would love to know. But from what I understand, they're just supposed to take some load off of the axle and make them last longer. I don't know how much a welded differential is going to help that though. So. Oh my God, this feels so much better. This right here, I could visibly see the slop right here whenever I would twist the drive shaft back and forth. I could see this shifting without this drive shaft moving, and now it's like dead nuts on. That's awesome. We've got everything on except the calipers, so we're gonna throw those on, put the tires on, and then we're gonna go for the exhaust. So we are really, really close to being done, and I'm pretty excited. Okay, this car is testing me. It really, really is. I was getting ready to put the calipers back on, and when I went to put the calipers on, I didn't even get close to bolting up right here where they should. They were probably ½ an inch away from those faces. So my first thought was maybe the brake shoes are too big for the rotor, but this rotor is old, and I measured those and I measured my old ones, and they're just about the same. So that shouldn't have been the problem. And then whenever I looked at the face of the hub here, the rotor was flush with the hub. So like the hub itself is limiting it from going back any further. So I measured with some accuracy, I measured from that hub face to the back, or to that bolt, to the bolt hole. So that right there is why I'm about ½ an inch shy of bolting up to that thing. So I have a couple options. Either pull the hub off of this while it's on the car and put the new hubs that I have over here on these and hope that the knuckles are the same and the hubs are what's different, and that fixes it. Or I take what I have off of the car and I rebuild these and put these back on the car with new hubs and bearings. I do think it's a hub thing, and I would like to take those apart and maybe check that. I'm leaning towards this one. So we might be cutting those axles in half to try to press those old axle shafts out with more press there. If they'll come out, then I can rebuild them pretty easy, and then I'll put those in there. But this has turned into just a clusterfuck. I mean, a genuine clusterfuck. Anything that can't go wrong with it has gone wrong. The move here is we're going to cut the axles in half, use the press, get these axles out of these hubs, use the hub puller, get the hubs out, get the bearings out, clean them up, put new bearings and new hubs onto these that came off of the car that I know for 100% fact are going to fit and be okay. I'm gonna leave the axles hooked up to the differential because I torqued them and Loctited them, and I don't wanna do that again if I don't have to. So I will just like zip tie those up probably just to hold them in place. I will then put in my old knuckles with fresh hubs and fresh bearings back into the car. We'll be back into business. And yes, but I am done working on this motherfucker today because That was such a kick in the dick. I was so excited. This has been like a 2 or 3 week project, and I was so excited to get finished with it. And the second I go to put the last piece on, I'm like, well, this ain't right. Oh man, and it completely invalidates almost all the work that you did. But you know what I didn't lose? I didn't lose the knowledge. I could get these things off in an hour flat, I bet. Maybe 2 hours.